Alright, I'm back. Um, Another camera malfunction, but it's pretty much consistently malfunctioning, so it's what you would call, um, that's just how it is. There's nothing can be done about it, just work around it. Do something, instead of complaining about it, just accept it, you know? Well, what can you do? You can't do anything. But like I said, we're all disciples. We're sheep. We must flock to the shepherd. And who's your shepherd at the moment? Mommy, daddy, 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 mommy, 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 daddy, and other daddy, or daddy and mommy and mommy and mommy. I mean, those are what you would call our models, role models. But if they don't measure up to what the plutocrats and aristocrats and the for-profiteers want you to behave according to their standards and practices, then if they can't teach you the right way, then your social peers will, or your teacher, your principals, all these for-profit public schools, preschool all the way to pre-grown-up grad school, you're going to figure it out eventually. And if you don't, then we're going to make sure we put you in some type of remediation. And what is that remediation? Is it kind of like a rehabilitation? Ergo via vis-a-vis jail? Correctional institutes? Juvenile detention? And you're already in detention. It's called school. It's called your parents' castle. The nice house that they work so hard to keep afloat, to keep from being an underwater mortgage. I want to. You got to show obedience to your keepers, your employers, your teachers. You got to show them that you deserve their critical acclaim. Childproofing. Childproofing. We know what childproofing is, right? Keep them out of hazardous situations, anything that could endanger their health. Well, this right here, this head, there's a skull that protects a brain, and that too needs to be nurtured and cared for. It has health issues. You need to, I guess, exercise it. No different than exercising knees. But that information that's in there, it's imperative that you don't fill it with information that could be a threat to the status quo. It's got to be information that's conducive to the status quo. You've got to preserve and sustain that status quo because it's in your best interest. If you don't, then you'll end up dying, perhaps. You'll be starving on the streets. I mean, what other way to live a life of luxury and satisfaction than to hop aboard the bandwagon that we call capitalism, democracy, religion, education? I mean, you can't, as a child, see that there's a thing called education and say, why must I go to this existing school? Why can't the school come to me? You may think the first thing, homeschool. No. Why can't I go out there and charter my own school, kind of like the movie Accepted, 2005, maybe 2006, and create my own college, create my own university, create this? Well, these universities had to have come about somewhere. Well, some organization, some business, either somebody like a Zuckerberg said, gee, I think it's a good idea to start a college. Well, that would be the sexy version of the truth, but really it all came down to nobody like Zuckerberg thought and fathomed the idea of creating their own college, let alone Facebook. That's just another illusion, another hallucination. But those who were already in power said, how do we keep our power? Let's keep them entertained. Let's make sure they're not focused on information that's vital and grave to their nourishment, but keeps them gossiping and keeps them marginalized. I mean, you got to teach those kids that don't spend your time reading a book. We want you to read eventually, occasionally, whenever we're pissed that you're hogging up the damn cable. That DVR is being ransacked by your little kid, your little rugrat. The kid saw mommy and daddy and mommy, and daddy, watching primetime cartoons, watching what they want to do, and they saw the reactions. Oh, that's nice. Oh, well, I want to behave like mommy, dad. I want my big wheels. I want to be just like daddy. Or was it daddy saying, I had a big wheel when I was a boy, now I'm going to give my boy Werther's original big boy. Yeah, so that's all they did is just train you to do that, but they child-proof your head to think outside the box. Pretty much, you have this box. Don't think outside of it. We'll child-proof this information that's out here, outside of this box. You ain't going to get any type of access to it whatsoever. We'll make sure of it. We'll see to it that if you try to escape this box, we will condemn you for all eternity. Blasphemous. But yeah, critical thinking, of course, you rob them of their critical thinking maybe I don't need Barbie or G.I. Joe. Maybe I don't need the Big Wheel of McDonald's or Play School, Play Laugh Grow. Maybe I don't need all that stuff. Maybe I don't need to submerge myself into sex education we call MTV or something on that level. Maybe I don't need to obsess about sex. Maybe I see it as procreation. It's pleasure, but it's not me obsessing about always having it. I mean, if you watch American Pie as a youth, I mean, you'll think, God damn, I need to get out there and bang every girl I see. I can't think about anything but sex. It's my raging hormones, and oh, I'm going through puberty. I've got to. No, you don't. No, you don't. You got to do that throughout your whole life. It's not a frenzy all at once. No, you just were trained to believe that's the case. And what happens? You're more likely going to have an STD that's going to need cured. You're going to have a child that's going to need to be reared. You're going to have to train it, and it keeps you busy. You got to keep your ass busy. If you don't stay busy, then it's just like anybody who believes, who a prisoner leaves a prison, they've got to go get a job. They got to get a job that keeps them busy, keeps them out of harm's way, keeps them out of trouble. Why can't you ensure that they go open up their own entrepreneurship? Because they don't have to apply to be an employee, right? If they're going to be refused their application because of their prior pre-existing punishment that they paid for, it's paid. They're square with the house. No, we got to still judge them. We still got to judge them for all eternity because they've done it before. They would do it again, of course. So in entrepreneurship, maybe, well, you automatically give this amount of capital to them, and let's say they do that. Oh, well, we don't want to do that because that entrepreneurship might be a threat to those who are already in power, that already fund this prison, who pay taxes that we need to depend on. If you're out there competing with them, that's less money that we have. I mean, I've got my mortgage to pay. I've got my kids to rear. Yeah, rear them, all right, rear end them. But no, we can't possibly consider that. It hasn't been done before. It's unprecedented. Play the lottery like mommy and daddy. Don't get out there and be the lottery. Don't already try to shoot for the best case scenario where you don't even have to. I mean, just like, I'll give you an example of owning water. Or let's say producing steel. I mean, everybody needs steel. Do they really give a shit where the steel comes from? Steel is steel, right? It's a steel. But you're not going to grow up and say, yeah, I want to be a steel tycoon. No, I don't want to do that. I want to work for General Motors and be like Grandpa when he was on the assembly line. And it was a great job for him. Look at what he had. He had this middle-class suburbia lifestyle, and it was just pleasure. It was paradise. It was heaven. No, it wasn't. Ask him how it felt like every day pulling those damn overalls and putting up with all that damn arduous labor. You don't want to hear that part. You want to hear, oh, what's the outcome of his labor? Why do you want to know that? Because you watch a television show, they're not going to show the actual effort that put into that nonstop. They're not going to show Zach Morris in the high school actually studying for a test and cramming for it every day and actually spending the time. No, we're going to show him at the max and having fun with all the girls chasing, cat chasing. That's fun. Yeah, so I guess any time right now is going to cut out, so I'm just going to go ahead and wing it for the remainder of number 8. displacement crossbreeding. Well, let me go ahead and point out the word. Moist nursing minionship. You got to be a minion. You got to actually be out there, and you got to suckle at the teat. This is a bottle, but you got to constantly suckle at something, right? You always got to have something in your mouth. Mouth fetishism. And what is your fetishism? Well, now that I'm a grown male, I want to have some lactation fetishism, because, well, damn, that reminds me of as a little newborn child. You know, I suckled, and obviously it created a bond with mommy and I, right? I'm just a representation of saying I actually had a physical bond with her, whatever. But I'm sure females, whenever they whip out their tit and say, "Hey, this is going to create a bond with my child," and doesn't this make me more feminine? Doesn't this give me more purpose? I don't have purpose as it is when I'm at my work and I punch the time clock. Now, when I come home, yeah, it's all worth it. I go out there and deal with the grind and suffer and painstaking, piss my pants nonstop all day. But when I come home, then it's just so much better. Look at the child sucking at my tit. So, don't you want to have other wet nurses moisturize your children's lips? I mean, if you can't do it, I mean, isn't that what happened before? A wet nurse came and took your spot if you couldn't provide. I mean, in history, a person would whip out their tit just to nourish the soldiers. I mean,